Welcome to Namaste with Renee, an award-winning podcast for entrepreneurs and personal reality creators. I'm your host, Renee Marcou, CEO of Marcou & Company, founder of the iHeart Coaching Academy, and professional singer-songwriter. I show women how to soar into financial and spiritual riches by turning their remedy into revenue. Hear from world-renowned guest experts on Namaste with Renee. Hello, amazing you. Welcome to the 100th episode of Namaste with Renee. Oh my gosh, I cannot even believe that we have reached 100 in like that short period of time. I literally feel like I've snapped my fingers and we're at 100 and like we're about to end the season and start a brand new beautiful season next year. I just am so delighted, so grateful, so appreciative for you for being a valued listener to this podcast, Namaste with Renee. I'm truly grateful for those who have started out with me back when I was recording in the studio. There was no video back then. And you've been an amazing listener and follower and supporter of this podcast. I truly, truly appreciate you and appreciate you sharing the podcast with those you love and commenting on the videos and joining our Facebook community. All that stuff just means so much to me. And I truly believe that that has what has pushed me forward on this path to keep producing valuable content for you and for this podcast to reach people around the globe. And literally, I look back over the last couple of days and getting ready to launch this 100th episode. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, like this podcast has grown into so much more than I could have ever imagined when I was even approached to do a podcast. So, wow, my heart's completely expanded. I can't thank you enough for being here. So, literally, it's turned into so much more than just a podcast. We've had guest features from all around the globe, best-selling authors, expert spiritual teachers, potent energy transmissions, and entrepreneurs who are here sharing their experience and supporting you and those who listen to this podcast for those up levelings, for those integrations, and for the inspiration to really put your best foot forward in this lifetime, whether in your business or in your CEO mindset, any of the other fun things that we talk about here on this podcast. Namaste with Renee is really fuel for anyone who really wants to just grow, who wants to feel like they're not alone, who wants to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, really helping others enhance their magic and feel truly connected to others, you know, when we're in this big world and just finding soul family. Like that's one thing for me that I really have felt so appreciative about, like really connecting with soul family from around the world. And so many guests found me in so many different ways and found this podcast and asked to be on the podcast and vice versa. And it's just been really beautiful. So with so much change and news to keep up with, really here on Namaste with Renee, we silence the noise and talk to that still small voice within you that helps you rise up and feel confident following your beautiful heart in all of your passions in your life. So for the 100th episode, I went back into the 99 episodes that were there and chose clips and segments with divine soul aligned family members of mine who really came onto the podcast and gave it their all and just shine so much light for each and every single one of you. And so I want to show you this gorgeous episode with all of the beautiful segments from so many of our experts who have come on and shared their wisdom. From my heart to yours, I welcome you to the best of the Namaste with Renee 100th episode.
We're not in that energy of being able to receive information, whether it be the guidance or honoring that inner child that's coming up for healing. And then the third component being that healing. So gosh, there's been just a variety of different things. And that's why it's so beautiful, because there's so many tools out there. So my recommendation to people is always find what resonates and try different things out. Like I use a energetic allergy healing, a recode method, like higher self recodes, where we connect with the higher self and give instructions, because time, I don't feel, is linear. It's not, it's a human construct. So we can actually go back to an event. Like, let's say we're talking about this, generational trauma and these core wounds, we can actually go back to that original event, and we can actually templatize and recreate that event, shifting pain to wisdom, which then literally does a change history on all the subsequent events.
When you're missing that connection, it's almost like unconsciously as a child, like you don't feel worthy of that love that that your soul knows that it's supposed to be receiving. So then you go out, if you're not getting it internally from your internal environment, we go out and we look for it externally. We look for it from other men, other women, and a lot of times it's in unhealthy ways, because the foundation of self-love wasn't built in a healthy way.
I'm having trouble, I'm writing my book or something and I'm kind of stuck. Then you ask for those downloads. And the best thing that I love about being so connected to source and to the higher self is when you start to receive downloads, and it feels like everything that you're doing, like I've done a project and then I've gotten to the end of the project and gone, I don't even remember doing it.
Wow.
It was like it just flows straight through you, and it is so powerful. And it really just takes you just letting go.
Next, you're receptive to receive, and then these multidimensional energies can co-create with you, allowing you to receive even more. So it's beautiful that then it really becomes like a vortex of peace and love and reconnecting deep within yourself. Because not only with my book, but just in general life, the moments we allow ourselves to have fun, to have joy, to be in peace, it's like the moment we relax, and then source and all these inspirations can come in. And it's like these moments that are so profound and so needed in this time, because when you allow yourself to have that more in your day, it's like things happen from flow and you just open up to a different dimension of yourself. And so
it
it's amazing.
is so true. Talk about creatives, right? I know I have amazing creatives who watch this podcast, and just being in that creative flow, for me, it starts from that moment of peace where I'm not, so clouded in my brain space or in my mind. And it's just like this.
Many of us are conditioned to believe that change is something to be feared, but that's the opposite of what change really is. Change is evolution. Our soul craves expansion. That is why we are here on this earth, to learn and to expand and to evolve and to connect.
Nervous systems and of our individual makeup. And so sometimes, especially when we're working with the nervous system, something that has one reaction for one system might have a different for another.
Okay.
And I think that's so important to acknowledge, because we don't fit in boxes,
Right.
And
That's for sure.
if a practice, there's not something wrong with you if you're feeling this as opposed to this. It's that would be my tip. Okay. That would be my tip right there, is that your nervous system is unique. And let me guide you real quick through a practice. But the key is about getting to know your system.
Yoga is to still that chatter in our mind. We all get so taken by it, and we actually think it's us. We think like, oh, I don't have any attention because it's so loud in there. Oh, I can't actually focus. It's so loud in there. Yeah, but that's everybody. That's all of us. We all share this occasional dysfunction, and it occasionally turns into a normality for all of us, right? But we all have the capacity to still those voices.
Now, in the moments when you feel, wow, this feels like a tough emotion, or this feels like something harder to go through, right? Because we do shine with the writing. I do feel like that we do shine a light on the darker parts of us, that the shadows we don't really want to see or remember every day, because it can bring up painful emotions. And I think having a journal is amazing. I tell all of my clients to have a journal, and even people I just speak to random. I think it's amazing. And look at what your journal did. It literally became a book.
Changed my life. It really
Your life.
changed my life. It changed who I became. It was just like all I can say is it's like I became free. I was letting out and letting go of anything that was holding me down, holding me back from the truth of who I was. And when I did that, it was like I felt freer, I felt lighter, and I really remembered who I was. And when you do that, I believe we were all here to touch and inspire each other. I really do. And so when I could do that, it was like I have now.
Whenever we're allowing ourselves to receive money from any and all sources, as long as it feels, I had full disclosure, like as long as it feels right for us, that we're not trading anything that feels out of alignment. And that's like very important, I feel like, to mention. But you can receive money from all different ways.
Well, and abundance comes in all forms, not just money. So, I get forms of abundance in nutrition and health and fitness, in peace, you name it. And, I wanted to tell you that it's been really interesting. I know during the last year and a half with everything going on in the world, and there's more than just the pandemic. I mean, it just seems like the world has spiraled out of control. And everybody has their own journey. I have probably in the last year and a half felt more peaceful than I ever have in a long, long time. I think it was putting it out there to the universe, how I my passion to give and help people is come back to me. Like we said, what you put out there has come back. And I have found so much.
Oh, whose energy is around me? That's like an energy vamp, or like what system's trying to hijack my brain right now. You know what I mean? And we get to see like that whole other level, and you get to go higher and higher. And it's a beautiful thing.
When you can apply like the realization that, wow, I manifested that so quickly because there was no resistance. Why, and you can break down the subjects that have resistance. What's not coming up yet? What's not coming up yet?
That extra step and like, let's really, really look at this, because I see a lot of women trying to save relationships, and they're like, okay, I have put up with his crap long enough. I'm going to have boundaries now, and we're going to like make it work. And I'm like, okay, that seems, I mean, it's a really dangerous situation, right? Because when the big bad wolf, we kind of have this assumption in our head, like, okay, I'm going to have boundaries. And then the big bad wolf's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so great. You stood up for yourself. And now we're like more equals, and I'm going to get my way less. And I used to manipulate you and trick you and scare you, but now I can't. And so I'm going to change my, I've been selfish for 43 years, but not anymore, because you got boundaries. So now I'm going to be a lap dog instead of a big bad wolf. And I kind of joke and make it silly, because that's what I try to do with this topic. But really, this is like, could be a life and death situation in these things. And so when someone's giving you the advice of just stand up for yourself or have boundaries, I just want to give some more context into that. And so the solution to the big bad wolf is getting away from the big bad wolf.
And especially, even though I might have neutralized the energy, which I have, when there is a soul contract of such great magnitude, there are ways that that person can find a way through. When you don't trust somebody to show up in their integrity, why play with them? Why even bother? Now, I don't have those personal experiences. The one person I reached out to, I did it in a text. I didn't have to have a conversation with that person. And when they wrote back their love bombing, I'm like,
I really, really believe that we have to take responsibility for our healing. No matter what's happened to us in the past, we are the ones who are responsible to create our future. And acknowledging what has happened is huge. We can't suppress things. I think we need to acknowledge and move through that and move the energy in our body, and then learn and grow from there, and take any action steps necessary in order to come forward and grow forward from there. And then as well, just trusting ourselves, trust our intuition. And for me, like, if there's 1% chance that I'm gonna make it, that's what I focus on.
Well, yeah, it's I look for unusual stones from around the world. Since all of my pieces are one of a kind, I like the components to be very unusual. So I buy them in small quantities, and I don't buy mass-produced type of stones. And I really can't copy another design. If I've had people come to me and ask me to do that, and I just don't have it in me. So I have a big mat that I place on my studio table, and I pull out different stones and I play with them. And sometimes I like what comes out and sometimes I don't. So I'll take some out and put something different in. And it all kind of comes together in a design once I see the combination.
Our relationships with our dogs are really direct mirrors, right, as to how we show up in life and how we show up in relating to them. And so it's so important, that we started to talk about this earlier, that it's the time that we need to start shifting our perspective and coming from a bigger, more grander, expansive vision of how we communicate, how we relate to our dogs, how we set them up in all aspects of their life, not just from a behavioral and a psychological, but from a nutritional and environmental and emotional aspects as well. Because as I always say, the relationship that I love to create with a canine and with a human is like a blank canvas. And so when we create that masterpiece of a relationship, we're adding all of the many beautiful layers to that, to that work of art, right? It's not linear, and it doesn't just come from one, adding one little bit to the canvas. There's so many aspects of that relationship that we have to look at, so many different layers that need to be addressed in order to have this extraordinary partnership that we deserve and that they deserve.
And you're like, oh man, I'm just another manifestation coach or whatever it is that your title is. No, there's a reason why people work with you. You are extremely special. You do have an it factor. And I would just go back and talk to your clients and ask them what they see in you. And sometimes we can look at our testimonials, but peeling back those layers of also allowing ourselves to be seen in that way is a big deal.
About him.
Yes.
So yes,
for sure.
Yeah, amazing person.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, and those are the type of people you meet here. That's
exactly true. And so I'm curious if you would share what it was for you that brought you out to Hawaii.
I mean, I have been coming here since I was a kid, from the first time my parents came here. So I fell in love with this place when I was 7 years old. But the first time where I swam with Honu, and I, back in those days, I didn't know much of the history. I didn't know a lot of it, but I sat there under the water. I touched the Honu shell, and I was just absolutely amazed. That turtle would circle me and not leave my, and it was just an amazing feeling that, it's like that bliss. It would be like if you were to swim with dolphins or something. Like, it was that blissful feeling that just takes over your body and you can't explain it. And ever since then, I've just been in love with Hawaii. And I knew one day, eventually after getting out of school and everything, I'd move to Hawaii. It was
life and all that stuff. And I think what you just shared was such a beautiful tool for people to really be able to tap into that alignment, that good feeling vibration that you do through dance, and that maybe somebody else could do through a passion for them or something that they know can help them feel better in those moments.
Yeah. And that's the, I think that was the main thing for me, that any moment that, I haven't been dancing, it's like as soon as I
get into that space. And it's not like it's, sometimes there's a moment where I'll put a song on and it's not like my energy will raise that much. It'll be like,
I suggest anything that if you're drawn to something in a store, crystal or tumbles, pick it up. And if it's like, then try it, take it home, and then research it later. Put it in your pocket or take it out, rub it a couple of times, see why. It might have chosen you. You say you chose it.
Right.
Each one has specific patterns and structures with unique vibration energy. So, that's a whole other crazy topic, but it's not. It just is what it is. Like quartz watches. I mean, they help keep accurate time. So the crystals through piezo electricity, which is a pressure, is applied to the quartz, and it causes a heat reaction, which causes an electricity thing. So electricity
vibration.
Jolt, vibration. Yeah, exactly, the vibration. And quartz is a good vibrational stone to start with, any of them. But my two favorite, really quick.
What are your two favorite?
Well, of course, rose quartz. It's just a peaceful energy. It's unconditional love. It's universal love. It helps you release stored tension and stress. That doesn't mean go throw it at somebody that you're mad
Definitely
at.
not.
And it promotes restful sleep. So that's always a real nice.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed the 100th episode and got so many golden nuggets from it. Thank you so much for joining in on Namaste with Renee, the podcast. I'm so excited to announce that we will be back for the next season in 2023, and probably even before that too, but just know that we have some juiciness coming up for you. So I would like to invite you to join us over in our Facebook community. If you search Namaste, the podcast, you will see Namaste with Renee. Come and join us. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Love Renee Marcou, so that you can be notified each time we release a new episode. And many of the episodes are on there, at least the ones that have a video with them. So be sure to do that. Follow the community. Come and join us. We're having a lot of fun in here. We're forming a tribe. It's very beautiful to experience. And I want to take this moment to thank you again, listener, for being here with me today, for witnessing the magic that happens inside of the Namaste with Renee portal. I would like to also thank the production company, WCTV, for all that you have done for this podcast, to help it grow, to introduce it to new listeners, to put these beautiful video episodes together. I thank you so very much. Special shout out to Ashley Stevens and Lisa Kapala. I appreciate both of you so very much. And then also thank you to each and every single guest who has come on and radiated their light and shared their brilliance with all the listeners here. I thank you so very much. If you are feeling called to connect with me, go ahead and send me an email to thrive@iheartacademy.com. That's THRIVE, the @ symbol, IHEARTACADEMY.com, and we can have a divine conversation. I would love to hear how this podcast has impacted your life, and if there's anything that I can offer you further from here. So we'll see you in the next season. Thanks again for celebrating with me, and I look forward to sharing some more radiant, illuminating light in the next season. The light in me honors the light within each and every single one of you. Namaste.